So this is the Nikon FE. This is my go-to carry around 35mm camera. A couple videos ago I mentioned being in the market for a medium format camera, but I needed a double exposure feature on it. The Nikon FE, as far as double exposures go, is the ideal setup. Part of what makes this camera great to me is the fluidity with which I can shoot a double exposure. Basically, you take a photo, you pull the little double exposure tab, and then you hit the advanced lever and you take the next photo, and you can do that as many times as you want as long as you hit that little tab first. It has a great auto feature. And yeah, I know, I'm a professional, I should be shooting manual, right? Auto mode is nice sometimes. Although the Nikon FE's auto mode is basically like aperture priority because the aperture is picked on the ring. So you pick the aperture and then the auto takes care of the shutter speed. So it kind of helps remove some brain space sometimes that helps you focus on the actual shot and composition instead of having to deal with all the settings. I guess my love for this camera is that my goal in my work is to kind of obscure reality. I kind of want to make it more dreamlike. And digital photography, I realized over time, just wasn't accomplishing the goals for my work that I wanted. And I used to carry around a Nikon D800 and a D850, so I was pretty dedicated to just carrying around the highest resolution camera possible at the time. But over time, I realized that sharpness and that high resolution was working against me in the concepts I was looking to kind of chase with my photography. For one, digital images don't generally age well, but film photos are like bald dudes. If you cut your hair off early, you trick everyone into thinking you never age. And that's kind of film photography. Film photography, because it's grainy and messy, it just looks the same no matter when you shoot it. So it kind of has this out of time sort of feel. And digital photography equipment is just too dang sharp now. Like, it's just too good. And so it's boring. There's not a ton of room for accidents or creativity as much as there used to be. So and there's nothing against digital. I still use digital for client work and for myself from time to time as well. But when it comes to the work I really want to make, film is kind of the cheat code to help me capture reality the way I tend to like capturing it. And digital just kind of isn't doing it for me anymore. And so the Nikon FE is a smooth, fluid experience. And as a lifelong Nikon guy, it just feels right in my hand. So what have I been making with this camera? Lately, I've just been walking around with it, and I've been pretty loose with it overall. I haven't been chasing any big concepts with it yet, just kind of running it through its paces. One thing I did is, and I made a video about this that you can go watch. If you haven't seen it, I did double exposures where I shot one exposure during the day and one exposure at night in 2 different cities. And basically I shot over a roll of film once, reran it, shot through it again, and again, made a whole video about it. I would say this is my favorite photo from that series of images. I really like this one too. A lot of these didn't work super well, but that's partially because it's random. I didn't know what I was gonna get out of it because I was shooting blind. I also tried out Lomography's Color 92 film. I went to downtown Greenville and shot a bunch of stuff with zero plan. Oftentimes, I feel like I at least need a little bit of a plan with what I'm shooting, but with these, I just kind of went out and I just felt super loose, and I was pretty happy with the results. I had no idea what I was gunning for, I just walked around with my camera. And I don't get to do that as much anymore. I felt like for somebody out of practice with improving like that, I did a pretty good job, so. This is one of my favorites. It's not a double exposure, but I like how clean it looks. I feel like the Lomography Color 92 really handled the shadows super well. and it's clean and nice light despite it being at like noon or something. It was like midday when I shot this film, just because I wanted to see like what it did in harsh daylight. And also I got a solid first of the roll shot. One blind spot I kept having locally in my area was that there's this hot air balloon launching every year, and during my work for the small town photo project, I always missed it for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I just could never get there on time, whether it was like I showed up late or didn't know it was happening, when it was happening, and all that stuff. I just, for whatever reason, I've been wanting to shoot hot air balloons. I've never seen them in real life before, and I finally got to this year. So look, I've been making videos for a few weeks now, and I feel like I'm starting to figure out my workflow and what I want to see out of my videos. I'm trying to treat video making in the same way I treat my photography, with limitations and challenges that keep me creatively fresh. I'm trying to make each video kind of a fun puzzle to solve. And that's basically my philosophy of creating things. Basically, keep going and find ways to keep making it harder for yourself. Photography is mostly just waiting around or feeling the pain in screwing up. I see photography is like a lot of suffering if you're doing it right. And that's why the highs feel so high, and when something goes right, it just feels so amazing, and there's no feeling like it. I've attempted to make videos about my work on and off through the years, but I can never really maintain it. But I think it's just time to accept the fact that I think documenting my process and my creative philosophies are actually kind of enhancing my work in some ways and making me think differently about what I'm making, and getting me to question why I make it in the first place. And we're so inundated with images, it gives me a chance to highlight images that I've shot that took time and effort, but often get buried as I work on the next set of images. And with just Instagram and stuff, it's hard to get images to stand out. So this gives me a space to let them stand out. So it's official. I'm in this YouTube thing for the long haul. My goal is to eventually upload at the same time every time, and I'm getting closer and closer to that with each passing week. As always, thank you for watching. Those of you who have subscribed already, sincerely thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to keep digging into this whole medium with my other medium. My Instagram is @WillMalone, and my other Instagram is @RoidRage72. What? It's my new Polaroid account. And please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more bad photos shot on auto.